Have you ever been excited about a project, then realized you had already built the schedule, the pressure, and the whole job around it before you made the first thing? I used to think I kept quitting creative projects. I have stopped enough of them that it was easy to make that mean something about me. Streaming, walkthrough videos, an AI film channel, different formats. Eventually, I fell behind, got overwhelmed, and stopped. For a long time, I treated that as proof I could not commit, but I think I was reading the evidence wrong. The direction was not always bad, but underneath those projects was the same pattern. Every time I got excited about a creative idea, I quietly turned it into a whole company before I had made one sustainable version of it. That is what made the idea become too much. Streaming was never just streaming, it became a schedule, setup, a consistency standard, a performance, and the feeling that people would expect me to keep showing up. Walkthrough videos sounded simpler, but the work didn't disappear. It just changed format and moved. Recording became editing, editing became packaging, packaging became titles, thumbnails, uploads, and the pressure to keep producing. Then I tried making AI films. From the outside, a 1 minute video doesn't sound like much, but behind it is a chain of work, generating clips, rejecting bad ones, keeping shots consistent, shaping narration, and audio, editing, fixing problems, exporting, and figuring out where it goes after it's done. One finished episode didn't feel like one finished episode. It started to feel like that. And that is the part I think I kept missing. The machine always appears in my mind fully formed: the channel, recurring series, visual world, audience, and systems around it. That is exciting and useful. Seeing possibility before it exists is part of why I'm drawn to building things, but the labor required to operate it shows up later. Failed generations, post assets, audio issues, revisions, exports, captions, thumbnails, deadlines. By the time the real costs arise, I'm not just working on an idea, I'm trying to operate the entire system, and when I cannot carry it, I call myself inconsistent. But there is a difference between a direction and an operating model. A direction is something worth testing or building, telling stories, learning to make videos, creating a channel, trying a new tool, building a more independent life. The operating model is everything that direction quietly requires: the roles, time, energy, tools, cadence, technical work, and obligations needed to keep it alive. A direction can be meaningful while the operating model around it is impossible for one real person to sustain. Does not mean that every idea deserves to be saved. Sometimes the direction is wrong. Sometimes the mature move is to just let the project go. But I don't want to automatically call myself lazy or inconsistent before I ask a more honest question. Did this project need a little more consistency, or did it quietly require one person to do the work of five? That question changes what I do with new ideas now. I am not trying to become less ambitious. You do not need the final system, the full schedule, every role, every tool, and the outcome working on day one. You need a sustainable version of the thing you actually want to build, a real version with a smaller, honest operating model, enough of the creative gold to fill the process, but not so much production debt that you overload yourself before you understand the work. For an AI film idea, that could mean making one self contained film with a process you could repeat instead of promising yourself a daily series. For YouTube, it could mean making one complete video and learning your rhythm for writing, recording, editing, packaging, and publishing before you quietly commit to 52 weeks of output. For a new tool or app, it could mean building one useful slice that people can actually use, then learning what the full project will really ask of you. You are still moving toward the goal. You're just giving yourself room to learn how to do the job before you ask yourself how to operate the whole entire system. Because two people can technically do the same task and still need completely different workflows. One person may love recording and hate editing. Another might enjoy the design work but get drained by the schedule. You cannot know from the imagined version of the project. You learn it by doing a sustainable version long enough to see the whole flow. That is not a rule against commitment. It is a way of making commitment honest. A sustainable version teaches you something an imagined system never can. It tells you what the work actually costs. It shows you which parts give you energy, which parts drain you, what can be simplified, what needs better tools, and what never needed to be part of the process in the first place. Then, if you decide to grow it, you are growing from reality instead of trying to carry the final form before you have learned how to hold the first one. That is what I'm trying to build now, a creative process where the meaning, story, visual choices, final judgments still belong to me, but where the structure is honest enough to keep me showing up. I want to give an idea a real chance to teach me its rhythm before I decide how big it needs to become. I want the right ideas to have enough room to become real.